Nice work.
Same to you. Give the captain my regards.
Stay. Help us go after Zakayev.
I'd rather kill him.
Good. You'll need this.
Back in the fight.
Actual, I'm with Nikolai. What on?
Roger that. Bravo 6 to Griggs. Stand by the move. Copy. Say the word, Captain.
Hey guys, thanks for joining me. Today's gonna be a weird one. I know it's season 6, but it's also the first presidential debate. I don't know about you guys, but I've been a political junkie all my life. I'm watching this shit show. So I'm sure by the end of this, you'll probably hear me rant and yell enough to confuse the hell out of people. And it is what it is. But I'm gonna play some Plunder while this goes on. But I'm gonna see this as well. The lighting is a little shit right now. Let me try and fix that with the light. There you go. That's actually a little bit better. I don't know. It's a little weird.
Shutdowns. And I'm telling you, it's because they don't want to open it. One of them came out last week. You saw that. Oh, we're going to open up on November 9th. Why November 9th? Because it's after the election. They think they're hurting us by keeping them closed. They're hurting people. People know what to do. They can social distance. They can wash their hands. They can wear masks. They can do whatever they want. They got to open these states up. When you look at North Carolina, when you look at these governors are under siege. Pennsylvania, Michigan, and a couple of others. You got to open these states up. It's not fair. You're talking about almost it's like being in prison. And you look at what's going on with divorce. Look at what's going on with alcoholism and drugs. It's a very, very sad thing. And he'll close down the whole country. This guy will close down the whole country and destroy our country. Our country is coming back incredibly well, setting records as it does it. We don't need somebody to come
So
in
guys,
and say, let's shut it down.
All right.
This is
Your 2 minutes, sir. We're now moving to you.
ridiculous.
As I said, posing the question, the president says it's a D-shaped recovery. You say it's a K-shaped recovery. What's the difference?
The difference is millionaires and billionaires like him, live in the COVID crisis, have done very well. Other billionaires already have made another $300 billion because of his tougher tax proposal, and he only focuses on the market. You folks at home, you folks living in Scranton and Claymont and all the small towns and working class towns in America, how will you do? This guy paid a total of $750 in taxes.
Sir, wait now. Sir, it's now, I understand. You've agreed to the 2 minutes, so please let him have it.
I get my time back. The fact is that he is, in fact, working on this in a way that he's going to be the first president of the United States to leave office, having fewer jobs in his administration than when he became president. Fewer jobs than when he became president. First one in American history. Secondly, people who have lost their jobs are those people who have been on the front lines, those people who have been saving our lives, those people who have been out there dying, people who have been putting themselves in a way to make sure that we could all try to make it. And the idea that he is insisting that we go forward and open when you have almost half the states in America with a significant increase in COVID deaths and COVID cases in in the United States of America. And he wants to open it up more. Why does he want to open it up? Why doesn't he take care of the American? You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis. And he has no intention of doing anything about making it better for you all at home in terms of your health and your safety. Schools. Why are schools open? Because it costs a lot of money to open them safely. You know, they were going to give, his administration was going to give the teachers and school students masks. Then they decided, no, couldn't do that because it's not a national emergency. Not a national emergency. They've done nothing to help small businesses. Nothing. They're closing. 1 in 6 is now gone. He ought to get on the job and take care of the needs of the American people so we can open safely.
All right, your time is up, sir. We are going to get to it.
I have to respond to that.
Well, you both have 2 minutes, sir.
Excuse me, he made a statement.
So did you.
People want their schools. No, people want their schools open. They don't want to be shut down. They don't want their state shut down. They want their restaurants. I look at New York. It's so sad what's happening in New York. It's almost like a ghost town. And I'm not sure it can ever recover what they've done in New York.
Okay.
People want their places open. They want to get back to their life.
Please tell me there's a viewer from New York here that can disprove this.
I'm the one that brought back football. By the way, I brought back Big Ten football. It was me, and I'm very happy.
I'm gonna go Trios, not Phil. Sorry guys, this is just pissing me off. Oh, you know what? Hold on.
Mr. President, as you well know, there's a new report that in 2016, the year you were elected president, in 2017, your first year as president, you paid $750 a year in federal income tax each of those years. I know that you pay a lot of other taxes, but I'm asking you the specific question. Is it true that you pay $750 in federal income taxes each of those 2 years?
Millions of dollars income tax. And let me just tell you, there was a story in one of the papers. I paid $38 million 1 year. I paid $27 million one year. I went, you'll see it as soon as it's finished. You'll see it. You know, if you want to do, go to the Board of Elections. There's a 118 page or so that says everything I have, every bank I have, I'm totally under leveraged because the assets are extremely good, and we have a very, I built
Sir, I'm asking you a specific question, which is.
Let me tell you.
I understand all of that. I understand all of that. No, Mr. President, I'm asking you a question. Please tell us how much you paid in federal income taxes in 2016 and 2017.
Millions of dollars.
You paid millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
So not some
Millions of dollars. And you'll get this. And you'll get this again. But let me just tell you. Chris, let me just say something. That it was the tax laws. I don't want to pay tax. Before I came here, I was a private developer. I was a private business people. Like every other private person, unless they're stupid, they go through laws, and that's what it is. He passed a tax bill that gave us all these privileges for depreciation and for tax credits. We built the building and we get tax credits like the hotel on Pennsylvania.
My stream is experiencing issues, guys. I got fiber. Come on now.
Administration, if you can believe that. Now the man got fired right after that happened. Yeah, I do want to respond. Look, the tax code
So this should pick everything up.
put him in a position that he pays less tax than a school teacher on the money a school teacher makes, is because of him he says he's smart because he can take advantage of the tax code. And he does take advantage of the tax code. That's why I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts. And we're going to eliminate those tax cuts and make sure that we invest in the people who in fact need help. People out there need help. Why didn't you do it over the last 25 years? Because you weren't president screwing things up. Including fixing the broken military that you gave me, including taking care of your vets.
Mr. President, we're talking about the economy. I'd like to ask you about your plans going forward, because, Mr. Vice President, your economic plan,
We deploy soon.
if you were to be elected president, focuses a lot on big government, big taxes, big spending. I want to focus first on the taxes. You propose more than $4
Enemy
trillion
dropping
over
into
a
the AO.
decade in new taxes on individuals making more than $400,000 a year and on corporations. President Trump says that increase in taxes is going to hurt the economy as it's just coming out of a recession.
Well, just take a look at what is the analysis done by Wall Street firms. It points out that my economic plan creates 7 million jobs in his economy, number one. And number two, it would create an additional $1 trillion in economic growth.
Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Why in America? We're going to make the federal government spend $600 billion a year. Steel, buildings, and life. And under my proposal,
Guys, I'm sucking, I can already tell you that.
that has to be paid by
But respectfully, sir, I'm talking about taxes, not spending.
Training is over. Time to see what you have learned.
a significant number of tax. I'm going to make the rocket away. The corporate tax 28%. Should be 28%. You have 91 companies. You don't pay a single penny in tax, making billions of dollars. Because you, in fact, has that. Not because you're the tax, you get it done, and you don't have it, you got it done.
Louder. Your mission is simple. Secure more cash than the enemy.
You would continue.
Mark a drop point for your team. You'll lead them in.
Taxes or deregulation.
Not lower taxes.
Let me just put in Obama's, if we moving, it turns out that in Obama's final 3 years as president, more jobs were created, 1.5 million more jobs than in the first 3 years of your presidency.
They had the slowest recovery since economic recovery since 1929.
Enemy dropping
The
into the AO.
slowest recovery. Also, they took over something that was down here. All you had to do was turn on the lights and you picked up a lot. But they had the slowest economic recovery since 1929. Now, let me tell you about the stock market. When the stock market goes up, that means jobs. It also means 401ks. If
Be
you
advised,
want in-
there's an enemy team hunting for you.
Listen, your idea is you want to terminate my taxes. And I'll tell you what, you'll lose half of the companies that have poured in here will leave, and plenty of companies that are already here, they'll leave for other places. They will leave, and you will have a depression the likes of which you've never seen.
I crashed. I crashed.
The worst recession, short of a depression in American history. I was asked to bring it back. We were able to have an economic recovery that created the jobs you're talking about. We handed him a booming economy. He blew it. It wasn't booming. It wasn't booming. It was the weakest recovery since
Is it fair to say he blew it when, in
When
fact,
COVID
when there was record low unemployment before COVID?
Yeah, but because what he did, even before COVID, manufacturing went in the hole. Manufacturing went in the hole.
Excuse me,
Number one.
Chris, wait.
Number two.
Chris,
Number three.
They said it would take. No, you were number two.
No.
Chris. They said it would
This
take a
guy.
miracle to bring back manufacturing. I brought back 700,000 jobs. They brought back nothing. They gave up on manufacturing.
We
Well,
did
by
not bring
standard fare.
Guys,
He totally gave up on
I am
manufacturing.
completely frozen, guys. I don't know what's going on.
Chrysler and General Motors brought them back right here in the state of Ohio and Michigan. He blew it. They're gone. He blew it. And in fact, they're going.
Ohio had the best year it's ever had last year. Michigan had the best year they've ever had.
That is not
Many
true.
car companies
Not-
came in from Germany, from
Not-
Japan, went to Michigan and went to Ohio.
They're not.
And they didn't come in with it.
Mr. Vice President.
And so you take a look at what he's actually done. He's done very little. His trade deals are the same way. He talks about these great trade deals. You know, he talks about the art of the deal. China's perfected the art of the steal. We have a higher deficit with China now than we did before. We have the highest trade deficit
China
with
ate
Mexico.
your lunch.
All right,
They ate
gentlemen.
your
Not wrong.
China ate your lunch, Joe, and no wonder your son goes in and he takes out billions of dollars. Takes out billions of dollars to manage. He makes millions of dollars. And also, while we're at it, why is it, just out of curiosity, the mayor of Moscow's wife gave your son $3.5 million. What did he do to deserve it? What did he do with Burisma to deserve $183,000?
Ask a question and answer.
None of that is true. It's
Really? He didn't
totally,
give
Mr. President,
It's
Mr.
totally-
President, please.
totally
Ask a question.
discredited. Totally discredited. And by the way,
Well, wait, he didn't get $3.5 million, Joe?
Mr. Vice,
He got
Mr.
$3.5
President,
million.
that is not true.
Really?
Mr. President, it's an open discussion, please.
No,
It's a fact.
Well,
There's
you have raised an issue, let the Vice President answer.
discredited.
Did Burisma pay $183,000 a month with no experience in energy?
Mr. Mr. President,
my son did nothing wrong at Verizon. I think he did.
Mr.
The only
President,
guy that
let him answer.
he doesn't want to let me answer because he knows I have the truth. His position has been totally, thoroughly discredited. And you
The media.
by everybody. Well, by the media, by our allies, by the World Bank, by everyone as discredited. Matter of fact, even the people who testified under oath.
So let me ask you this.
No, go ahead. Mister, I'm listening to you.
People under,
You got $3.5 million from Moscow.
he testified under oath that his administration said, I did my job on I did it
I
on
don't know who they are.
well, I'll give you the list of the people who
No,
testified.
go ahead.
Sure, you've already fired most of them because they did a good job.
Some people don't.
Well, here's
With you.
Go ahead. You get the, wait a minute. You get the final word.
well, it's hard to get any word in with this clown. Excuse me, this.
And let me just say,
No. I'm Mr. President.
$3.5
I'm Mr.
million,
President.
Joe.
That is simply.
Why did
not
he
true.
deserve $3.5 million from Moscow?
Look, here's the deal. We want to talk about families and ethics. I don't want to do that. I mean, his family we can talk about all night. His family's
My
already
family
already
lost a fortune by coming down and helping us with government.
And that's such a
Mr.
no,
President.
Every single one of them.
this is not about my family or his family, it's about your family.
In America, $3.5 million.
He doesn't, that's not true. It doesn't want to talk about what you need. You, the American people. It's about you. That's what we're talking about.
All right, that's the end of the subject. We're moving on.
It did take that.
Vice President, no.
Can I be honest? It's a very important
Try to be
question.
honest.
I
He stood
understand.
up.
No,
He stood up.
the answer to
And
the
he
question is
threatened
no.
Ukraine.
No, sir.
With $1 billion. If you
That is
You know what?
absolutely not
Stop.
true.
You're going to have
True.
Gentlemen, I hate to raise my voice, but it seems to me, why should I be different than the two of you? So here's the data. We have 6 segments. We have ended that segment. We're going to go to the next segment. In that segment, you each are going to have 2 uninterrupted moments. In those 2 uninterrupted minutes, Mr. President, you can say anything you want. I'm going to ask a question about race, but if you want to answer about something else, go ahead. But I think that the country would be better served if we allowed both people to speak with fewer interruptions. I'm appealing to you, sir, to do.
And him too.
Well, frankly, you've been doing more interrupting.
That's
than
all
you
right,
have.
but he does plenty.
Well, less than you, sir, less than you have. Let's please continue on. The issue of race. Vice President Biden, you say that President Trump's response to the violence in Charlottesville 3 years ago, when he talked about very fine people on both sides, was what directly led you to launch this President Trump, you
We're falling behind.
you have done more
Right.
Black Americans than any president.
Kills the enemy, collects their tags, and takes them to the drop off
Abraham
points.
Lincoln. My question for the two of you is why should voters trust you rather than your opponent to deal with the race issues facing
Enemy
this
personal radar overhead.
Years? Vice President Biden, you go first.
It's about equity, quality.
Confirmed kill.
And we have never
Reload.
our equity for
Killed one.
quality.
Enemy in center.
We've never away from he is. It is true. I got the races with close your eyes.
I just started the game.
Tomorrow will be different.
This anti-Semitic vile and accompanied by the Ku Klux Klan. You don't know what that kid. And they asked the president what he thought. He said, we're very fine people on both sides. No president's ever said anything like that.
It is this.
Now, second point I make is that when Floyd was killed, Mr. Floyd was killed, there was a peaceful protest in front of the White House. What did he do? He came out of his bunker, and the military used tear gas on him so he could walk across to a church and hold up a Bible. And then what happened after that? The bishop of that very church said that it was a disgrace. The general who was with him said all he ever wants to do is divide people, not unite people at all. This is a president who has used everything as a dog whistle to try to generate racist hatred, racist division. This is a man who, in fact, you talk about helping African Americans. 1 in 1,000 African Americans has been killed because of the coronavirus. And if he doesn't do something quickly, by the end of the year, 1 in 500 will have been killed. 1 in 500. is the savior of African Americans. This man cares at all? This man's done virtually nothing. Look, the fact is that you have to look at what he talks about. You have to look at what he did. And what he did has been disastrous for the African American community. So,
President Trump, you have 2 minutes. Why should Americans trust you over your opponent to deal with
I
racism?
did a crime bill, 1994, where you call them super predators, African Americans.
Domination.
And they've never forgotten it.
Capture
They've
and
never
hold the
forgotten it.
objectives.
No, sir. It's his 2 minutes.
So you did that, and they call you super predator.
We're taking
I'm letting
Charlie.
people out of jail now that you have treated the African American population community, you have treated the black community about as bad as anybody in this country. You did the 19.
We're on Alpha, stand by. We
Uh-huh.
are command here.
Dude literally spawned out of cleared.
Because they saw what you did. You called them super predators, and you've called them worse than that. Because you look back at your testimony over the years, you've called them a lot worse than that. As far as the church is concerned, and as far as the general is concerned, we just got the support of 250 military leaders and generals. Law enforcement, almost every law enforcement.
Bravo.
kill.
I have Texas.
Securing A.
I have
Enemy UAV overhead.
Excuse me.
Assist your team at B.
The sheriff just came out today and he said, I support President Trump. I don't think you have any law enforcement. You can't even say
Lost
those
Bravo.
words. You say those
Assist
words
your team at Alpha.
to all of your radical left supporters. And why aren't you saying those words, Joe? Why don't you say the words law enforcement? Because you know what?
We lost
They told us we would put out that fire in a half an hour, but they won't do it because they're led by radical left Democrats.
There's in that fucking corner.
They heard we were coming in the following day and they put up their hands and we got back Seattle. Minneapolis, we got it back, Joe, because
Enemy at the bridge.
Mag change.
cities are just about the top 40 cities.
Priming explosive now.
Democrats are in many cases radical left, and they've got
Priming
you
explosive
back
now.
Joe, to a point where you don't want to say anything about law.
They have to. Retake those objectives.
People of this country.
Oh, come on, that hit him in the face.
I want to return to the question.
Securing B.
Vice President Biden, after the grand jury in the Breonna Taylor case
Confirmed kill.
decided not to charge any of the police with homicide, you said it raises the question, quote, whether justice could be equally applied in America. Do you believe
Friendly fire.
Securing Alpha.
an unequal system of justice for blacks in this country?
Yes, there's a
Alpha secure.
systemic justice in this country, in education and work, and
Reload. Priming explosive now.
look, vast majority of these officers are decent, unrepresented women. They risk their lives every day.
We are in command.
Yell it out.
When they find them,
Enemy taking shots.
they have to be held accountable. They have to be held accountable. And what I'm going to do is press
Securing
the
Bravo.
It's called a together.
Enemy has Charlie.
People have to
Enemy's taking Alpha.
go everything from the civil rights groups, the police officers,
Securing
police
Bravo.
chiefs, and we're going to work this out. We're going to work this out so we change the way in which we have more transparency when these things happen. These cops aren't happy to see what happened. These cops aren't happy to see what happened.
Priming explosive now.
People don't like it. We have to have a
That was stupid on my
people
part.
held accountable. And by the way, violence and response is never appropriate.
Assist your team at Alpha.
Peaceful
objective
protest
lost.
is.
Move in.
Violence is never appropriate.
Right.
What is peaceful protest? When they run through the middle
Assist
of
your
town
team at
and
Alpha.
burn down the stores and kill people.
Attack those positions. They're falling behind.
Mag change.
You say it is.
Come on, guys, get to B, get to B, get to B.
In a moment. This month, your administration directed federal agencies to end racial sensitivity training that addresses white privilege or critical race
Charlie,
theory.
stand by. Enemy in the warehouse.
Decide to do that, to end racial sensitivity training, and
We're
do you
taking
believe
Bravo.
that there is systemic racism
captured
in this
Charlie.
country?
Enemy UAV overhead.
I ended it because a lot of people were complaining that they were asked to do things that were absolutely insane.
Enemy at the
It was
bridge.
a radical revolution that was taking place in our military, in our schools, all over the place, and you know it, and so does everybody else. And even
Just only secure from the flood side.
Sensitivity training.
if you were a certain person, you had no status in life. It was sort of a reversal.
And if
Two
you look at
objectives
the people
lost.
we were
Move in.
paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to teach very bad ideas and frankly very sick ideas, and really they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow that to happen. We have to go back to the core values of this country. They were teaching people that our country is a horrible place, it's a racist place, and they were teaching people to hate our country. And I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Vice President Biden.
Nobody's doing that. He's racist. Here's the deal. I know.
Enemy and Charlie, go.
The fact is that there is racial
We're out now.
insensitivity.
Stand by.
Where?
They've reached the halfway
What
point.
other
Get
people
moving.
feel.
Reload.
Attack those positions. We're falling behind.
What is meaning to it. It's a they don't want to. Many people don't want to hurt other people's feelings. But it makes a big difference. It makes a gigantic difference in the way a child is able to grow up and have a sense of self-esteem. It's a little bit like how this guy and his friends look down on so many people. They look down their nose on people like Irish Catholics like me. And
Securing Charlie.
They look down on people who don't have money. They look down on people who are of a different faith. They look down on people who are a different color.
Right.
In fact,
That's better.
we're all Americans. The only way to bring this
Oh my goodness.
is to bring everybody together. There's nothing we cannot do if we do it together. We can take this on. And
We're on Alpha. Stand by.
Racism is president.
I mean, President.
The Obama Biden administration, there was tremendous division. There was hatred. You look at Ferguson, you go to many places. Look at Oakland. Look what happened in Oakland. Look what happened in Baltimore. Frankly, it was more violent than what I'm even seeing now. But the reason is that the Democrats that run these cities don't want to talk like you about law and order. You still haven't mentioned. Are you in favor of law and order?
I'm in favor of law.
Are you in favor of law and order?
Down the hostage, Mac Jane.
We're taking Alpha.
Fucking camper.
We're taking Bravo.
15% in our administration. It's gone up on his watch.
Enemy vehicle in the AO.
All right, we're now here. Mr. President, you're going to say
We have trouble. We're Democratic-run cities.
That's exactly my question. There has been a dramatic increase in homicide this summer, particularly, and you often blame that on Democratic mayors and Democratic governors.
We have me blanket.
In the bridge.
In Republican-led cities like Tulsa and Fort Worth. So the question is this really a party issue?
I think it's a problem. You can bring out a couple of examples, but if you look at Chicago, what's going on in Chicago? 53 people were shot and 8 died shot. You look at New York, where
Securing Charlie.
nobody's ever seen
We're
that.
on Bravo. Stand by. We're falling behind.
It's crazy.
Reloading.
And he doesn't
Got
want to say
Charlie.
because he can't, because he'll lose his radicalism.
Knock it down.
If he ever
Securing
got
Bravo.
around this country, and they ran it the way we
Allied UAV overhead.
our suburbs were together.
We're on Bravo. Stand by.
And you would see problems like you never saw.
Enemy at the shipping area.
Suburbs.
Enemy chopper gunner on approach. Abort mission. Regroup.
All these dog whistles and racism don't work anymore. Suburbs are by and large integrated. There's many people today driving their kids to soccer practice in black and white and Hispanic in the same car as there have been any time in the past. What really is a threat to the suburbs and their safety is his failure to deal with COVID. They're dying in the suburbs. His failure to deal with the environment. They're being flooded. They're being burned out because his refusal to do it. That's why the suburbs are in trouble.
I do want to talk about this issue of law and order, though. And in the joint recommendation that came from the Biden-Bernie Sanders task force, you talked about, quote, reimagining policing. First of all, what does reimagining policing mean, and do you support? It means, let me, if I might finish the question, what does reimagining policing mean, and do you support the Black Lives Matter call for community control of police?
Look, what I support is the police having the opportunity to deal with the problems they face. And I'm totally opposed to defunding the police officers. As a matter of fact, local police, the only one defunding it, his budget calls for $400 million cut in local law enforcement assistance. They need more assistance. They need, when they show up for a 9/11 call, to have someone with them as a psychologist or psychiatrist to keep them from having to use force and be able to talk people down. We have to have community policing like we had before, where the officers get to know the people in the communities. That's when crime went down. It didn't go up, it went down. And so we have to be engaged.
That's not what they're talking about, Chris. That's not what they're talking about. He's talking about defunding the police.
That is not true.
He doesn't have any law
Domination.
With you.
support. He has
Capture
no,
and hold the objectives.
That's not true.
almost.
That's not.
All right, who do you have? Name one group that supports you. Name one group that came out and supported you. Go ahead. Nick, we have time.
We don't have time to do
No, no,
anything.
all right.
All right.
Name one law enforcement group
Securing
that
Charlie.
came out and
I think,
supported
gentlemen,
you.
I think I'm going to
Enemy at the warehouse.
I don't think you are.
And I want to get to another subject.
Priming
which is the
explosive
issue of
now.
protests in many cities
Got Charlie.
that have turned violent. In Portland,
We have taken the lead.
We had more than 100 straight days of protests, which I think
You're
even if
needed
we have
at sea.
official protests, many
Back
of
up
those
at Bravo.
turned into riots. The Vice President, you say that people
Priming
who
explosive
commit
now.
crimes should be
Lost
held
Charlie.
accountable. The question I
We're
have, though,
losing.
is,
Retake
as
those
the
points.
Democratic nominee, and earlier tonight,
Enemy has the lead.
They have me
We're
sighted.
taking Charlie.
have you ever called the Democratic mayor of Portland?
And my
Democratic
James.
governor,
Securing A.
Fuck.
you gotta stop this. Bring in the National
taking
Guard.
Charlie.
Do whatever it takes that you stop the days and months of violence.
Enemy UAV overhead.
I don't.
We've got Alpha.
I am a former vice president. I've made it clear. I've made it clear in my public statement. Violence should be prosecuted. It should be prosecuted. Anyone who commits
Enemy near Main Street.
The people, the leaders, excuse me, sir. You have never called for the leaders in Portland and in Oregon to call us, bring in the National Guard and not want 100 days of riots.
they can, in fact, take care of it to stay out of the way. Look here.
Need backup at Alpha.
Here's
So
what
that-
They have to. Retake those objectives.
A young man in the middle of the street, they
Securing
shot
Charlie.
him. And for 3 days,
Attacks those positions. We're falling behind.
the U.S. Marshals, they took care of this.
Go ahead, sir.
And by the way, you know, his own former spokesperson said, you know, riots and chaos and violence kill this cause.
Enemy's taking Charlie.
I don't understand.
I do. I think it,
We're losing. Retake those points.
he said, oh, it's
Reload.
Look, here's the point. The point is that that's
We're
what
taking Charlie. Enemy near Main Street.
Dang, how good is that,
Enemy
John?
cruise missile.
things down. Instead of going in and saying, let's get ready to deal with this. What's he do? He just pours gas on fire constantly.
Reload.
Every single solitary.
Okay, and to end this, not this segment, I'm going to give you a minute to answer, sir.
We're taking
You have
Charlie.
repeatedly criticized.
Answer his
No,
statement.
you have repeatedly. You have no, you've been talking
I made a
before.
statement.
I'm asking you.
I would love to
You know,
end it.
sir. You know, if you want to switch seats,
You can very quickly.
Enemy in the junkyard.
The National Guard would be-
Securing A.
would be no problem.
okay.
But they don't want to accept the National Guard.
You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa
We captured
and
Alpha.
other left-wing extremist groups. So are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland? Are you prepared to
Do that.
specifically
But
do it?
I would say almost everything I see is from the left, not from the right.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see
Well,
peace.
then do it, sir.
You're needed at A.
You want to call him?
Two objectives lost. Move in.
Give me a
White
name.
supremacists and
Who
right
would you like me to condemn?
supremacists and right
Now, boys, stand back
We're
and
taking
stand
Charlie.
by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left because this is not.
Putting up smoke.
This is a left.
Losing Alpha.
Antifa's an idea.
We're
not
taking
an
Bravo.
organization.
You got it.
Now, listen, that's what
Here's an idea.
FBI.
Allied precision airstrike incoming. Be aware.
You know what?
We're done, sir.
Attack those positions. We're securing Bravo. They've reached the halfway point. Get moving. Bravo secured.
Antifa is a dangerous
All right,
radical.
gentlemen, we're now moving on to the Trump and Black records.
They'll overthrow you.
When a president, I'm going to ask a question. When the president seeks a second term, it is generally a referendum on his record. But But Vice President Biden, you'd like to quote one of your dad's sayings, which is don't compare me to the
You're
Almighty,
needed at Bravo.
compare me to the alternative. And in this case, sir, you are the
Securing
alternative.
Charlie.
Looking
Attack those
at both of
positions.
your
We're
records,
falling
I
behind.
ask each of you, why should voters
Priming
elect
explosive
you
now.
president over your opponent and
We're holding
your
Charlie.
Because there has never been an administration or president who has done more
Assist your team at
in
sea.
a period of 3.5 years. And that's despite the impeachment hoax. We saw what happened today with Hillary Clinton, where it was a whole big con job. But despite
Attack
doing
those
all of these
positions.
things,
We're falling behind.
both flanks and behind me and above, there has never been an administration that's done what I've done. The greatest
That was
before
for me.
COVID came in, the greatest economy in history, lowest unemployment numbers. Everything was good.
Friendly
Everything
VTOL on
was
station
good.
for
By the way,
Overwatch.
there was immunity going to happen. People were calling me for the first time in years. They were calling. They were saying it's time,
Taking
baby.
Charlie.
And then what happened? We got hit, but now we're building it back up again. The rebuilding of the military, including Space Force.
Priming
all
explosive
together.
now.
A fixing of
Captured Charlie.
VA, which was a mess under him. 308,000 people died because they didn't have proper health care. He was a mess. And we now got a 91% approval rating at the VA, our vets. We take care of our vets. We
Securing
rebuild our
Alpha.
military. The job that we've done, and I'll tell you something, some people say maybe it wasn't. By the end of the first term, we'll
Losing
have
C.
approximately 300
Alpha secure.
federal judges and 300. And only 3 great Supreme
Enemy at the bridge. We lost
justices
C.
record, the likes of
Enemy
which-
UAV overhead.
And you know one of the reasons I have so many judges? Because President Obama and him left me 128 judges to fill.
We're taking Charlie.
When you leave office, you don't leave
Securing
any
B.
judges. It's like you just don't do that. They left 128 openings, and if I were a member of his party,
Securing Bravo.
because they have a little different
We captured
philosophy,
Charlie.
I'd say if you left
We hold all objectives.
us
Keep it that way.
128 openings. You can't be a good president. You can't be a good vice president. But I want to thank you because it gives us almost, it'll probably be above that number by the end of this term. 300 judges. It's a record.
Losing B.
Looking at both your records, why should voters elect you president as opposed to
Assist your team
President
at A.
Presidents uninterrupted?
Under this president, we become weaker, sicker, poorer, divided, more violent.
We lost A.
When I was vice president, we inherited a recession. I was asked to fix it. He did. Booming economy, and he caused the recession. With regard to what we do, the fact is that I got hit the head, made it clear to him when I was taking his. He's
Securing Alpha.
he still doesn't even say anything to put about the bounty on the heads of American soldiers.
All points are ours. Give them nothing.
Mr. President, your campaign
Losing Alpha.
did both sides only 2 minutes.
Priming
Yes,
explosive now.
uninterrupted. Look, you're sovereign. And why don't you observe?
We lost Alpha.
He never keeps the word.
Yeah, no, I'm not excited. That was a rhetorical question. Go ahead.
Wealthy by a tune of over $300 to $400 billion more just since COVID. You and the
Need backup at Bravo. Advantage is ours.
He's president of the United States. It's on his watch. If we are too more divided, a nation that can't stay divided, we can't be this way. And speaking of my son, the way you talk about the military, the way you talk about them being losers and being
Enemy at Bravo. Go.
and just being something. My son
Enemy has Bravo.
was in Iraq at a year.
Oh my god, in that fucking
Enemy
shoe.
at Charlie. Go.
Serviceman. He was not a loser. He was a patriot.
We're falling behind.
Left behind there, hero. And I resent.
We're losing. Retake those points.
I don't know, Bo. I know Hunter.
We're on Alpha. Stand by.
Thrown out of the military. He was thrown out, dishonorably discharged.
That's not true.
Cocaine use. And he didn't have a job until you became vice
captured
president.
Alpha.
Once you became vice president, he made a fortune in Ukraine,
We have
in
failed.
China, in
Return to
Moscow,
base.
It's simply
various
not
other places.
true. He made
My
a
son,
fortune.
and my son,
And he didn't have a job.
my son, like a lot of people going home, have a problem. He's overtaken. He's fixed it. He's worked on it, and I'm proud of him.
Why was he
Proud of
given
my
tens
son.
of millions
All
of
right, he
dollars?
wasn't given tens of millions of dollars.
Tens of totally.
He's already spread it. We've already been through this. I think the American people would rather hear about more substantial. Okay, well, you know, as the moderator, sir, I'm going to make a judgment call
Something
here.
gets $3.5 million
Okay,
from
right.
the
Let's
mayor
talk
of
about-
Moscow.
Let's talk about
I
not
think
true.
it's
Gentlemen, that report is totally
Why did he-
discredited. I had Romney on that committee said it wasn't worth taxpayers' money. That report was written for political reasons. You know, I'd like to talk about climate change. So would I. Okay. The forest fires in the West are raging now. They have burned millions of acres. They have displaced hundreds of thousands of people. When state officials there blamed the fires on climate change, Mr. President, you said, I don't think the science knows. Over your 4 years, you have pulled the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Accord. You have rolled back a number of Obama environmental records. What do you believe about the science of climate change, and what will you do in the next 4 years to confront it?
I want crystal clean water and air. I want beautiful clean air. We have now the lowest carbon. If you look at our numbers right now, we are doing phenomenally. But I haven't destroyed our businesses. Our businesses aren't put out of commission. If you look at the Paris Accord, it was a disaster from our standpoint. And people are actually very happy about what's going on because our businesses are doing well. As far as the fires are concerned, you need forest
Oh
management.
god, this guy's pissing me off. Like really, really bad.
Forest floors are loaded up with trees, dead trees that are years old, and they're like tinder, and leaves and everything else. You drop a cigarette and then the whole forest burns down. You've got to have forest management.
What do you
You've got to
believe?
have guts.
What do you believe about the science of climate change?
I
Right.
believe that we have to do
Kill the
everything
enemy,
we can
collect their
to have
tags, and take them to the
immaculate
drop-off
air,
point.
immaculate water, and do whatever else we can that's good. You know, we're planting 1 billion trees, a 1 billion tree project, and it's very
Do you
exciting.
believe that human pollution, greenhouse gas emissions,
Got a reload.
global warming?
I think
What is
I
the
think
link?
so, but I think to an extent, yes. I think to an extent, yes. But I also think we have to do better
Here's
management of our forests every year. If that was cleaned, if you had forest management, good forest management, you wouldn't be getting those. You know, in Europe, they live their forest cities. They call forest cities. They maintain their forests. They manage their forests. I was with the head of it's a forest city. He said, sir, we have trees. Far more. They ignite much easier than California. There shouldn't be that problem. I spoke with the governor about it. I'm getting along very well with the governor. But I said, you know, at some point, you can't every year have hundreds of
Enemy
thousands
UAV
of
overhead.
acres of land just burned to the ground. That's burning down because of a lack of
But sir,
management.
if you believe in the science of climate change, why have you rolled back the Obama Clean
We're
Power
losing ground.
Plan, which
Step it up.
limited carbon emissions in power plants? Why have you relaxed?
Because it was driving energy prices through the sky.
Why have you relaxed fuel economy standards that are going
Enemy
to create
personal radar in the air.
cars
Well,
and
not
trucks?
really, because what's happening is
Enemy
the car is
UAV
much
overhead.
less expensive and it's a much safer car. And you're talking about a tiny difference. And then what would happen because of the cost of the car, you would have at least double and triple the number of cars purchased. We have the old slugs out there. If you did that, the car would be safer. It would be much cheaper by
But in the case of
$3,500.
California, they said,
People be able to afford a car. Now, and by the way, we're going to see how that turns out. A lot of people.
Enemy cluster strike incoming. Take
The car
cover.
has gotten so expensive because
Enemy
they have
VTOL in the
computers all
air.
over the
Enemy
place.
UAV
Extra
overhead.
little bit of gasoline. And I'm okay with electric cars too. I think I'm all for electric cars. I think
Enemy in the shipping
they've
area.
done it, you know, it's just-
Vice President Biden, I'd like you to
Enemy personal radar in the air.
change record, but I also want to ask you, they're going to conserve close to $2
Enemy
billion
halfway there. Step it up.
jobs because of technology, new limits on fracking, ending the use of fossil fuels to generate electricity by 2035, and zero net emission of greenhouse gases by 2050. The president says a lot of these things, and not any of possible infrastructure.
Enemy incoming.
No, we're not administration. That was a down across the middle and cheapest than as cheap as coal and gas and oil. Nobody's We're going to move to renewable. We're going to reload. The federal fleet and turn it into making sure we can do that. We're going to 500,000 charging stations.
Enemy UAV overhead.
Highways are going to be building in the future. We're going to build an economy that, in fact, is going to provide for.
Setting a charge. Setting a charge.
There's so many things that we can do now to create thousands and thousands of jobs. We can get to net zero in terms of
Enemy
energy
UAV
production
overhead.
by 2035. Not only not costing us,
Personal radar in the air.
creating billions of good paying jobs, not $15 an hour, but a prevailing wage, by having a new infrastructure that in fact is green. I will rejoin the Paris Accord. I will join the Paris Accord because with us out of it, look what's happening. It's all falling apart. And talk about someone who has
Point
no
A is disabled.
relationship with foreign policy. Brazil, the rainforests of Brazil are being torn down, are being ripped down. More carbon in that rainforest than everywhere. I would be gathering up and making sure we
Allied
have
cruise missile away.
Stop tearing down the forest.
Get
And
it
if you
together.
don't,
This
you're
ain't
gonna
over
have
yet. Friendly care package inbound.
economic consequences.
What about the
Enemy at the
argument
bridge.
that the President says that you have to balance
Reloading.
environmental interests and economic interests?
Enemy at the
He's
junkyard.
Here's one.
He had drawn a line. He still, for example, makes sure that he wants to make sure that methane's not a problem.
Enemy
You
personal
can
radar
now
in the air.
emit more methane without being
Be
a problem.
advised, friendly
Methane.
precision
This is a
airstrike
guy who
inbound.
says that you don't have to have mildly standing water. This is the guy who says that the fact that
In the garage.
That's it. We've lost the
It's
objective.
$100 trillion. I'm talking about
Where they want to rip down buildings
uh,
and rebuild. It's the business. Where airplanes are out of business, where two-car systems are out, where they want to take out the cows. That's not true either, right? This is a 100 trillion. That's more money than our country could make in 100 years. If
not the case.
Because I actually witnessed, sir. I actually have studied your plan, and it includes upgrading 4 million buildings, weatherizing 2 million homes over 4 years, building 1.5 million energy-efficient homes. So the question becomes, some president is saying, and some people who support the president would say that sounds like it's going to cost a lot of money and hurt the economy.
What it's going to do is going to create thousands of millions of jobs, good paying jobs.
But let him finish, sir.
You don't know. The fact is, it's going to create millions of good paying jobs. And these tax incentives to people to weatherize, which he wants to get rid of, it's going to make the economy much safer. Look how much we're paying now to deal with the hurricanes. By the way, he has an answer for hurricanes. He said maybe we should drop a nuclear weapon on them.
I never said that.
That's what they did.
You made it up.
And here's the deal, we're going to be in a position where we can create hard, good jobs by making sure the environment is clean and we all are in better shape. We spend billions of dollars on floods, hurricanes, rising seas. We're in real trouble. Look what's happening just in the Midwest with these storms that come through and wipe out entire sections and counties in Iowa. That didn't happen before. They're because of global warming. We make up 15% of the world's problem. We, in fact, the rest of the world, we got to get it to come along. That's what we have to get back into.
Got enemy inbound. Lock and load.
Support.
All right, gentlemen, we
So why didn't he do it for 47 years? You were vice president. Why didn't you get the world? China sends out as India does, they all do. We're supposed to be good. And by the way, he made
agree.
Well, they want to rebuild everything.
Not my
I
plan.
want to rebuild
Do you
everything.
know anything about, gentlemen?
He made a statement about the military. He said I said something about the military. He and his friends made it up, and then they went with it. I never said it.
Okay, that is
What
not
he
true.
did
First,
is he
you got
said
in a segment.
he called
Mr.
the military
Vice President.
stupid bastards.
I
And he
did
said
not
it on
say
tape.
that.
He said
Mr.
stupid bastards. He
Please,
said it. I would never
I
say that.
would play it. Play it. Go ahead. Mr.
Right,
Vice
Dave.
President answered his final question.
Final question is, I can't remember.
Change your max.
And about the economy and about this question of what's going to cost.
The economy. The
I mean, the Green New Deal and the idea of what your environmental changes will do.
Green New Deal will pay for itself as we move forward. We're not going to do it back.
Reloading.
Fucking camping up there, man.
You support
No, I don't support the Green New Deal.
Oh, well, that's a big statement.
I support
You
the
just have to radically
I support the Biden plan going forward.
Okay.
Biden plan is different than what he calls the radical
Change your
Green
mix.
New Deal.
All right, gentlemen, final segment. Tonight,
Change your
millions
mix.
of Americans are receiving mail-in ballots or going to vote early. How confident should we be that this will be a fair election? And what are you prepared to do over the next 5+ weeks? Because it'll not only be to election day, but also
Friendly
counting some
UAV
ballots,
overhead.
mail-in ballots after election day. What are you prepared to do to reassure the American people that the president
Reloading.
will be the legitimate winner of this election? In this final segment, Mr. Vice President, you go first.
Fucking campers.
IWillVote.com. Decide how they're going to vote, when they're going to vote, what means by which they're going to vote. His own
There they go, back again. Fucking campers, I swear to God.
source of being manipulated and cheating. They said that. The fact is that there are going to be millions of people because of COVID that are going to be voting by mail-in ballots like he does. He sits behind the Resolute desk and sends his ballot to Florida. Number one. Number two,
Enemy cruise
we're
missile
gonna make sure
incoming.
that those people who
Knocked in the head.
poll watchers are there to make sure they can socially distance, polls are open on time, and they'll stay until the votes are counted. And this is all
Change your max.
voting because he's trying to scare people into thinking that it's not going to be legitimate. You will determine the outcome of this election. Vote, vote, vote. If you're able to vote early in your state, vote early. If you're able to vote in person, vote in person. Vote whatever way is the best way for you. Because he cannot stop
Fucking campers, I swear to God.
this election. And in terms of
Look at
whether or
this.
not
This guy's literally just camping.
Enemy movement.
if I win, that will be accepted. If I lose, that will be accepted. But by the way, if in fact he says he's not sure what he's going to accept,
Set a charge.
it doesn't matter. Because if
Stun
he
her
gets
out.
votes, it's going to be all over. He's going to go. He can't stay in power.
Change your max.
Don't happen. So vote. Just make sure you understand you have it in your control to determine what this
Fucking
country's going to
campers.
look like the next 4 years. Is it going to change?
Friendly
when you
UAV
vote over
overhead.
years of these elections?
Mr. President, 2 minutes.
So, when I listened to Joe talking about the transition, there's been no transition from what I won. I won that election. And if you look at Hillary Clinton, if you look at all of the different people, there was no transition because they came after me trying to do a coup. They came after me spying on my campaign. They started from the day I won and even before I won. From the day I came down the escalator with our First Lady, they were a disaster. They were a disgrace to our country. And we've caught them. We've caught them all. We got it all.
Dead. Change your max.
Got a UAV on station, ready for flyover.
President Obama was sitting in the office. He knew that
UAV entering the AO.
Great transition. As far as ballots are concerned, it's a disaster. A solicited ballot. Okay, solicited is okay. You're soliciting.
charge.
They ask you,
Friendly
they send it
UAV
back, you
overhead.
send it back. I did that. If you have an unsolicited, they're sending millions of ballots.
Change your max.
There's fraud. They found it.
Set a charge.
Sentry gun on station.
Come on.
UAV is bingo fuel. RTB for resupply.
Basket. They're being sent all over the place. They sent two in a Democrat area. They sent out
Set a charge.
ballots.
Changing mags.
See, the other thing, it's nice on November 3rd. You watch it and you see what
Changing mags.
I think we're going to do well because we're really happy with the job we've done. We might not know for months because these ballots are going to be all over. Take a look at what happened in Manhattan. Take a look at what happened in New Jersey. Take a look at what happened in Virginia and other places. They're not losing 2%, 1%, which by the way is too much. They're losing 30, 40%. It's a fraud and it's a shame. Can you imagine when they say you have to have your ballot in by November 10th? November 10th. That means that's 7 days after the election. Period. Should have been announced. It would be a major state run by Democrats. All run by Democrats. It's
President Trump,
it's a rigged election.
you're going to be able to continue. You have been charging for months that mail-in balloting is going to be a disaster. You say it's rigged, that it's going to lead to fraud. But in 2018, the last election, 31 million people voted mail-in.
Fucking out of here.
Cast their ballots by mail. Now that millions of mail-in ballots have gone out, what are you going to do about it? And are you counting on the Supreme Court, including a Justice Barrett, to settle any dispute?
I think we're counting on them to look at the ballots. That's what we're doing. I hope we get this in terms of the election stuff. What's happening is I read today, at least 1% of the ballots for 16 get validated.
Enemy cruise missile incoming.
There are millions of ballots going out.
You do a solicited ballot. That's okay.
I know
Where are you going by?
I'm asking you about the fact that millions of people
Enemy in the dumpster.
Hostile drop.
You either do Chris, a solicited ballot where you're sending it in, they're sending it back, and you're sending. They have mailed it with lots of it. Did you see what's going on?
We're halfway there. Keep fighting. Allied
They're being
cluster.
sold.
Friendly UAV overhead.
This is a
Changing mags.
This is not. This is not going to end.
Finally, put you down.
This is not
Vice President Biden states have mail-in ballots last decade or more. 5
Friendly UAV overhead.
And you don't have to solicit the ballot, it's sent to you. It's sent to your home. What we're
Enemy
saying
in the
is,
office.
that it has to be a postmark by the time, by election day. If it doesn't get in until the 7th night, it still should be counted. He's just afraid of counting the votes.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
No, I want to continue with you on this. Vice President Biden.
Sentry guns down.
Vice President Biden, the biggest problem, in fact, over the years of mail-in voting has not been fraud historically. It's been sizable numbers, sometimes hundreds of thousands of ballots are thrown out because they have not been properly filled out, or there is some other irregularity, or they missed the deadline. So the question I have is, are you concerned that the Supreme Court and the Justice Barrett
Setting a charge. Turn around.
When you file, when you get a ballot, you fill it out. You're supposed to have an
Less than a
affidavit.
minute.
Enemy in the center.
No, you have to
Keep it up.
say,
Day's almost done.
you should be able to verify that you, before the ballot is thrown out, that's sufficient to be able to count the ballot if someone made a mistake and not in the correct eye. Who they voted for, testify, say who they voted for, say in jail, that's illegitimate.
All right.
See, because when you
I have a final-
sending and swapping the system, you know it can't be done. You know it can't be
In 8 states, election workers are prohibited
Enemy VTOL in the
by
AO.
law, 8 states, from even beginning the process. Now, we can get them on the envelopes and not them until election day. That means that it's likely because there's going to be a huge increase in mail-in balloting that we are not going to know on election night. It could be days, it could be weeks,
Now that
until
was
we
a
find out
fight.
who
Solid work.
the new president is. So I, first for you, sir, finally for the, I hope neither of you will will you urge your supporters to stay calm during this extended period, not to engage in any civil unrest, but will you pledge tonight that you will
Just
not
fucking
declare
game crews.
until
I am urging my people. I hope it's going to be a fair election. If it's a fair election, I am 100% on board. But if I see tens of thousands of ballots being manipulated, I can't go along with that. And I'll tell you what, from a common sense, I'll tell you what it means. It means you have a fraudulent election. You simply have 80 million ballots. They're not equipped. These people aren't equipped to handle it. Number one. Number two, they cheat. They cheat. Hey, they found ballots in a waste paper basket 3 days ago, and they all had the name military ballots. They were military. They all had the name Trump on them.
Vice President
You think
Biden,
that's good?
Vice President Biden, final question for you. Will you urge your supporters to stay calm while the vote is counted, and will you pledge not to declare victory until the election is independently certified?
Yes, here's the deal. We count the ballots, as you pointed out. Some of these ballots in some states can't even be opened until election day. And if there's thousands of ballots, it's going to take time to do it. And by the way, our military, they've been voting by ballots since the end of the Civil War, in effect. And that's what's going to happen. Why is it for them somehow not fraudulent? It's the same process. It's honest. No one has established at all that there is fraud related to mail-in ballots.
Domination.
That somehow it's fraudulent.
Capture and defend the objectives. We must control the field.
You have an opportunity
Look
to
at
respond.
Carolyn.
Go ahead.
They have no idea what
Vice
happened.
President Biden, go ahead.
He has no idea what he's talking about. Here's the deal.
Priming
Fact is,
explosive
I
now.
accept it
We're taking Bravo.
because
We're on Alpha. Stand by.
Throwing stun grenade.
and if it's me,
We're on Bravo. Stand by. Enemy in the warehouse.
and I'll be president.
Securing B.
Loading.
Be president for Democrats and Republicans. And this guy, I want to say,
Gentlemen, you say that's the end of it? This is the end of this debate?
Securing Charlie.
Changing back.
Securing B. Enemy in the bridge.
Reloading.
We captured Bravo.
Throwing stun grenade.
Taking Charlie. Got Charlie.
Participated in the first of 3 debates that you'll be going to engage in. We want to thank these listeners for hosting this event. The next debate, presidential debate, will be 1 week from tomorrow, October 7th, at the University of Utah.
Need backup
This
with Bravo.
setting the 2 vice
We have
presidential
control.
nominees,
Trust
Vice
them.
President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris.
We lost B.
Debate at 9 p.m. Eastern that night. We hope you watch.
Enemy at
Until
the
then,
bridge.
thank you and good night.
Most of you, if not all of you, have ever seen the most chaotic presidential debate, and it will certainly raise a lot of questions, about the future of a presidential debate between these two candidates. I would be surprised if this is the last presidential debate between the president
They have to retake those objectives.
of the United States.
Securing Alpha.
Joe Biden clearly showed up today. He went head-to-head with the President of the United States, who was often put
We
on
captured
the
Alpha.
defensive, interrupted the Vice President repeatedly. This will certainly be to a lot of the Biden supporters who are going into this debate fairly nervous. The former Vice President.
Losing A.
Priming explosive now.
Securing Bravo.
Well, that was a hot mess inside a dumpster fire,
Lost Alpha.
inside a train.
You're needed at
That was
Charlie.
the worst debate I
Enemy
have
in the
ever
shipping
seen.
area.
In fact, it wasn't even a debate. It was a disgrace.
We're losing. Retake those points.
Primarily because of President Trump, who spent the entire time
Priming
interrupting,
explosive
not
now.
abiding by the rules he gave to, lying, maliciously attacking his son, the vice president. When asked to condemn white supremacists, he brought up the name of a neo-fascist.
Securing A.
To stand back
Securing
and
Charlie.
stand
Enemy in the
by.
bridge.
I
Enemy
will
UAV
talk about
overhead.
who won the debate, who lost the debate, but I can tell you one thing for sure.
Hostile
The
contact.
American people lost tonight. Is that
Changing back.
high-minded language. I'm just gonna say it like it is. It's a shit show.
Hostile down.
And we're on cable. We can say that. Apologies for being maybe a little bit rude, but that is really the phrase that I'm getting. From people on both sides of the line.
Bravo secure.
And there, reality TV show, the bad reality TV show, is going to help them. I mean, it was a disaster.
Enemy at the garage.
Even this, I mean, that, you know, two men in their 70s want to be the leader of the you know, reasonable exchange of ideas. You came away from this debate thinking that's not possible because
Enemy at the warehouse.
hear that at certain points. There was so much crosstalk. One way
That
or
makes
another,
two.
but Jake
The
is
advantage
right
is
now.
ours.
We should be really clear here. This is not
Losing
both
B.
sides type of situation. There was one party on
Enemy
that
at the
debate
bridge.
interrupted, yelling over the moderator. And from the very beginning, I think what was so striking was
Securing Charlie.
that usually these debates
Enemy
build
visual
and
in
they build
AO.
and they build to the end. We started at a 12. On a scale of
Enemy at the warehouse. Enemy at Alpha. Go.
really,
We hold all
you know,
objectives.
I think
Keep it that way.
in a very agitated state, very early on in the debate, and the
Lost Alpha.
I've heard, right?
Mag change.
Very much support the president, want him to do well, as this was going on, that he was way too hot. They knew that he was
They've reached the halfway point. Get moving.
beforehand, that he was going to try to be on offense as much as possible. But this took it too far. He's been
Right?
Yeah.
And you don't like the president's style of place.
Assist your team at Charlie.
Okay?
Enemy at the warehouse.
And President,
Losing
know
B.
Joe Biden. One,
Enemy has Charlie.
saying he had some nice moments.
Enemy
having
support
fun
kilo in the
with
air.
that. But that's almost irrelevant. Because the way the president behaved, again,
Attacks those
the
positions. They're
anti-defamation
falling
is
behind.
already out there asking
Down the last mag.
clarify
Down the last mag.
this far right stand back and stand on the way that the president behaves stage, just the way that the president has behaved in American politics. Yes, he's dominant, and if you like that, great.
Down the last
He
mag.
didn't abide by any standard.
Enemy rocket.
When
Reloading.
I
Securing
said,
Alpha.
I wasn't talking about Joe Biden and some part that I was unsure about. I was talking
We're
about
on Alpha. Stand by.
the moderator did not have control of the debate stage.
Holding Alpha.
The president that he was violating the rule 13 minutes into the debate.
the whole thing. And when you talk about
We're on Bravo.
the
Stand
fact
by.
that, you know,
Enemy in their main
low.
base.
There was one part of it. It's hard to pick out. There were one low that was really unbelievable, which is when Joe Biden was talking about his son who died, who was incredibly close to talking about him.
They have two.
Down to last
Retake
mag.
those objectives.
Somebody who was
You're needed at A.
and what did the president do? He shot at him about his son who was living as a drug addict. And that was the moment I thought Joe Biden didn't get it. He was trying to really give it away from the talk about his family. But in that moment, he turned to the camera and
Where
said,
was it?
you know what, my
Enemy
son is
explosive now.
drug issue.
Field one.
And then he
Reloading.
felt it. And that was something that
We're taking
he
Alpha.
talked about very much.
Timing
And that was the
explosive now.
moment where Joe Biden was able to shine as the president was incredibly low, much lower than he was.
Alpha secure.
That's our thing that really lacked.
Enemy at the warehouse.
I think in that moment it was obvious the president was trying to shoehorn a political attack against one son while Biden was talking about another son
We're taking Bravo.
served in the military honorably and died. And I think that comes across. I think the American people are not stupid, but it also just goes to show other
We're
things.
taking Bravo.
Really from the beginning was just the lack of control the president had over his own strategy. Over, you know, the plan that he had going into this
Two
election.
objectives lost. Move in.
You cannot tell because it's so
Reloading.
And one final thought before we go to Anderson. At the end there, Chris Wallace was pressing the president ably on the idea of would he concede if he loses. Joe Biden said, yes, of course I will. The president wouldn't. What occurred to me is the thought that
Enemy UAV
the
overhead.
president does not think he's
Losing
going
eight.
to win this election, and he wants to bring the rest of us down with Anderson.
Jake, thank you very much.
Not only get out there and hurt them.
David, I brought you.
We're
I
on
don't think
Bravo.
we've ever
Stand
seen
by.
a president of the United States
Securing Bravo.
completely lacking
Enemy at Alpha.
in
Go.
shame. I mean, just shame.
Enemy at the bridge.
And beastly.
We're holding Charlie.
I mean, there's not
Enemy
even
has Alpha.
vibrate the man. I don't know what came out of this debate. I don't know what side won. I don't know what voters won. But you cannot have watched that debate.
Rest your wounds.
I
We
would think
return
and
soon.
be proud of our president. The way he thinks of us as viewers, as Americans who are trying to decide about the future of the country. Can anybody come away from that debate knowing what Donald Trump wants for the next 4 years?
Does any of this surprise you?
No, but to see it on
the
such
guy
full
who's on that
display
stage,
in this
the
moment.
guy who is on that stage tonight is the guy we've seen for 4 years. Rick Santorum predicted what he would do. The question is, Rick, whether he over-torqued it and went overboard. I would say way overboard, and I don't think that he is going to profit from this. I think Donald Trump may have ended his presidency tonight with his performance. It's not that Kavanaugh was great.
Look, I thought the president was going to come out hot, and
All right, guys. I'm gonna stop streaming. Actually, I've been streaming for like an hour. I'm gonna call it quits. I haven't been talking very much. I'm just not feeling it. This debate kind of wore me out. Thanks for anyone that's in. I said I see you guys. I appreciate it. I just shit debate, guys. Shit debate. That was a, as they said, that was a crack whore inside a dumpster fire, inside a bigger dumpster fire. It was crazy. I appreciate you guys sticking around for some Call of Duty. I'll be back probably tomorrow or the day after. Thanks all.